No, dead. They're all dead.
Mamma mia!
The following views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the producers, hosts, and or guests of the Bitter Marks podcast. We assume no responsibility for any errors or omissions in the content provided.
Listener discretion is advised.
Bitter Marks! Bitter Marks! What is up, smooth babies? Welcome to Bitter Marks. It's your favorite non-wrestling wrestling podcast coming to you every single Friday morning in audio form at bittermarks.com or wherever you get your podcast from, or in video form coming to you every single Tuesday night live at 9:05. That's p.m. That's Central Standard Time. Streaming from our YouTube page. Just head on over to YouTube, search Bitter Marks Podcast, click on our channel, subscribe, turn on the notifications, do all that normal podcasting stuff. And you can actually be part of the show as we record it. Join in the chat room with all the other smooth babies and ask us any questions you may have, whether they're wrestling, non-wrestling related. I see some fantasy football questions in our future over here. I don't know that that's a great idea, but we'll do it because why not? If you heard last week's show, you know that literally anything will be better than last week's show. Anyway, feel free to bomb us with any obscenities like our friend Redcoat. Is Redcoat in the building this week? Hopefully he shows up again. Anyway, once again, that's every Tuesday night live at 9:05 p.m. Central Standard Time on our YouTube page if you want to be part of the show. If this is your first time listening, thanks for checking us out. Feel free to email us, bittermarks@gmail.com. Once again, any questions you want, any links you want to send, our friend Dawkins Kruger always sending something about purses or something about jewelry. Find out more about that later in the show. Anyway, I'm your host. My name is Sasha, and I am joined by my dear friend and night court enthusiast. It's Peewee.
Hey, what's going on? I love me some night court.
Yeah, Christine died from night court.
I didn't know that. Oh no, what a week! Jesus.
And a couple weeks ago or months ago, Mac was that the guy, the black guy's name?
Yeah.
Yeah, he died. So can
this
we
is
do
all news to me?
Yeah, can we do a wellness check on Bull? I don't know.
Is Harry Anderson okay?
He died years ago. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
This is a heartbreaking way for me to start this episode. This sucks.
I'm sorry. I mean, you're a night court enthusiast. I figured
I really am.
You'd be up on all the stuff. I don't know if Bull is still alive, but I find it hard to believe that he would be alive and we have not heard from him in like 20 years.
That's
like,
true. Yeah, if somebody was going to come out of the woodwork, it would have been Bull. I totally agree with you.
Yeah. There's actually a good 30 Rock episode where they bring back a bunch of night court episodes, but that is another podcast for another time.
I'm down to start a night court podcast.
Yeah, this actually might be the podcast to discuss that situation. In fact, I think our dear friend Hattori Hanzo, big fan of 30 Rock and Night Court as well.
Perfect.
We are joined today by the punctual prince of podcasting from parts unknown Illinois. It's producer Tony.
What's up, everybody? And I am excited. You know why? Because I am drunk with power. I have the banhammer. I am now a mod for the YouTube chat. So I'm looking at you, Giuseppe. You crossed me. You're out of here, buddy. I can't get rid of Hanzo. I can't get rid of CU Comedy. They're here. They're like 50% of our audience. But you, I'm watching you.
I'm gonna go ahead. If you're not watching on YouTube, Tony is garnishing a giant hammer/axe that I don't know where he got this thing from. He also doesn't have a background like he normally does. What's going on there?
I was hilariously unprepared for this podcast.
Ah, that's right. You said you forgot it was Tuesday. That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay,
I'm gonna put this back now on the wall where it goes.
Giuseppe, aka Redcoat, says that John Larroquette lives comfortably. So I don't know. Does he know John Larroquette? That's pretty solid. Rest in peace. Is Marky Post? Is that who Christine is?
Oh, that sounds right. Yeah, the name Marky sounds familiar. Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, I am very excited for this episode. I didn't realize literally until 10 seconds before we fired up these microphones. This is my episode. I'm sad I didn't prepare. I should have saved this for my bitter. I'm sad I didn't prepare for this episode more. I'm sad that I didn't make this a Peewee centric episode. Gentlemen, welcome to the Bitter Marks episode 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
Wow. How did we fuck that up?
Oh, I love this.
I love that we're 10 minutes into this podcast and 2 of the 3 hosts have said that they are unprepared for this podcast. That's excellent.
I mean,
I'm
after the barn burner that was last week, why should we change anything, really? I mean, that was a great episode in my book.
Well, look, last week I did not prepare, and I take full responsibility for it. That being said, this week, I'm not going to guarantee a better show, although I did slightly prepare, but whatever, it's still us. There's
no
still
promises, as always. No
lows, you know what I mean?
That should be our shirt. Bitter Marks Podcast, no promises.
No promises. We do have a new state who listened to us. How about that?
Oh, yeah.
I haven't had one of these in a while. I think a man named Vince is listening because Connecticut, welcome.
There you go.
We got him. We got him.
The 38th state in the union.
How do you get an email when we get new states that listen? How often are you checking this map?
Every day.
Amazing.
No, I check probably once a week.
Okay.
Just to see like if we still have listeners, and then like you can also check the map and see the map, and I generally know the map of who has been watching us. It's a pretty big map. I'll take a picture. I'll send out the map.
I imagine Sasha has a big map on his wall with push pins and like in every state that we've got to listen in before.
I'm not allowed to use push pins, but I do use Velcro to put all the pictures up in my room. So, and then the other thing that we had that was a milestone. It's only taken us 2.5 years, guys, but we just hit 100 Instagram followers. How about that?
Hey, that's
How
fantastic.
about that?
Through the roof.
2.5 years.
So at this rate, how many do we need to start getting sponsorships on this? Was that 500?
We need 500 listeners per episode. So
whoa. Can we add up all of the listens we've ever gotten and then possibly multiply them by 2?
I'm sure we can trick somebody.
I like that.
Is this a good time to admit that I don't have an Instagram account? Like I'd never signed up for that ever.
You're not missing anything.
Really?
Says the other person who doesn't have Instagram. I love Instagram. I prefer Instagram to all other social medias.
Why?
Because
what's the big deal?
You don't have to read anything. You just look at pictures. What do you want to see? Some asses, some titties, and some dog videos.
I got websites for that, buddy. I don't need to go to sign up for an account.
I'm not getting any one internet nation from Instagram. You know what I mean? My phone is safe. My phone is dirty, but it is safe.
It's filthy, but it's safe. Yes.
It's Instagram's dangerous though because they have you can zoom in on Instagram. So like if you look at things that I zoom in on Instagram, if they ever release that could be dangerous. That's all I'm saying. It's like 3 pictures of my friends in a distance and then just titties, probably. Okay, all right, that was good. That was smooth. I'm going to try that out tomorrow at the open mic, see if it gets as good of reaction from there. Anyway, okay, guys, here we go. 15 minutes in, here comes the downhill. The energy has only taken us this far. Last week was our worst show ever. This week, we're going to make sure it's our best week ever by starting out with that hot men on a mission talk. Can we get a picture of Mo? Can we get a picture of Mo on the YouTube?
I'm sure that's possible. Hold on a second.
Listen, I told you guys last week that Mo was clearly 60 years old when Men on a Mission formed, right? That's a picture of Mo right there from 1993, 94, something around there. Do you know how old he is in this picture? You guys want to guess how old Mo is?
That is a good question. Is he still with us? Did we talk about this already?
I noticed the gray hair in his little beard there.
But is that dyed? Like, you could tell me he's 22 and I would buy it. Like, he's got to be dyed. Look at his eyebrows. His eyebrows have dyed stripes in them.
Who dyes gray? I mean, like, women do now.
No, it's like blonde.
But in 1993.
No, man, that's I absolutely guarantee that's bleached.
Okay.
I would not be surprised here. My guess is 22 years old.
Okay, Tony, what's your guess?
42.
That man is 26 years old in
Jesus.
that picture.
He looks 42.
That
I'm a
man
lot closer. That is very surprising.
It means that man currently is 54 years old. By the way, Sting is like 62 or something like that, right? So we can potentially bring Mo out of retirement. That is, if Mo was retired. Mo runs an indy in Texas.
Whoa.
How about that? So, Peewee, if you need to get booked, I suggest reaching out to Mo. Anyway, I got an you didn't know for this week regarding Mo. This is going to get a little interesting, fellas.
By the way, real quick, I love the outline of Mabel in the background, like towering over him like a mountain. Yeah. That's fantastic.
I believe Mabel has a Whoomp There It Is shirt that I cut out for that picture. But
why would you cut that? Oh, my God.
After these guys were in the WWF, Mo went back to work in Memphis. And the USWA. We love the USWA here. So I'm shocked that I did not know this. But I never really followed, like, late USWA. Like, they folded in 96 or 97 or whatever it was. Were you aware he was in the USWA, Peewee?
I think I was. That's where all of them were, right? All three of them? I
don't know. That's news to me. Yeah, like, as Men on a Mission?
Yes. Like, I don't know if that was their name, but they were, like, together as a group.
Okay. So after they spent some time in WWF, Mo went back down to USWA and became part of a stable that would go on to be in the WWF. But this stable started in USWA. Do you want to guess? Do either one of you want to guess? You both know the stable. Which stable he was in USWA?
In USWA?
In USWA, and it was a WWF stable. So, like, you would know it because it is a...
The only USWA stable I know... I think I know two. I'm guessing Midnight Express was in USWA, or PG-13.
Okay. And, Tony, you got any guesses? You can take the Mo picture down if you want.
Leave it up. It's fine. Nobody wants to see me. They'd rather look at Mo. And his bleached eyebrows. Oh, fuck. Did we do a Dead or Alive about them?
No, I don't think so.
I'm asking Sasha.
About Men on a Mission? No.
No, about the stable that you're asking me about.
Oh, good question. Okay, gotcha. Good question.
No.
No? Fuck. Then I don't know. I got nothing.
He was part of the original Nation of Domination before it went to the WWE.
Okay.
He became known as Sir Mohammed, using a black supremacist gimmick. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Are you aware that the Nation of Domination existed in the USWA? Is this like something that you're like, oh yeah, I remember now, or completely blind?
Sadly, I think I was confusing Men on a Mission and USWA for Nation of Domination.
That sounds about right.
Right. That adds up.
Okay, so let me do this. The USWA version of the Nation of Domination was led by PG-13, so you were kind of right.
Yeah.
JC Ice and Wolfie D. And this stable included the greatest named characters of all time. They had a guy named Akeem Muhammad.
Okay.
A combination of Akeem Olajuwon and Muhammad Ali.
Is that true? Wait, is that true?
Well...
Like, I mean, yes, it obviously is a combination of those two names, but is that done on purpose?
You'll see as I name the rest of these people.
Wow.
So that was played by a wrestler named Big Black Dog, who was also Black Moondog.
Oh, I didn't know there was a Black Moondog. That's
me too. This is fantastic stuff I found out today. And I don't know what else he was in, but I Googled Big Black Dog wrestler, and Mo came up, but it wasn't Mo.
It wasn't Mo? Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
And then there was a guy named Elijah, that's hilarious because we trained with an Elijah. And
sure.
This was not him. This was Elijah played by a guy named Spellbinder. I remember Spellbinder being in the USWA.
Yeah, same.
And then later on, he was actually on the debut pay-per-view or whatever you want to call it of TNA, that June 19th, 2002.
Really?
His name is something like Alex Del Rios or something like that.
Okay.
But he didn't spend too much time in TNA, maybe even that one show or something like that. But so he played this guy Elijah. Then there was a guy named Kareem Olajuwon.
Oh yeah.
You want to guess what Kareem Olajuwon is a combination of? There's
That's
only
awesome.
one option.
Yeah, of course.
So this was played by a guy named Reggie B. Fine, which is also my stage name in comedy. This guy managed Awesome Kong, Brickhouse Brown, The Eliminators, and in 1994 he feuded with Coco Beware.
Okay, I like that.
And that feud, he stole Frankie and pretended to eat Frankie on air.
Wow.
On air.
On air.
That
Awesome.
is a.
And then
What
they
a
fought
move.
matches where Frankie was on the line, and this guy Reggie B. Fine would put up his fur coat to against Frankie.
Oh, I like that. Okay, that's good stuff.
So Reggie ended up winning Frankie, and then Coco Beware was suspended for using a pipe against Reggie. A pipe is, by the way, now commonly used item in all wrestling matches ever for every event. And then when Coco Beware came back from that suspension, he ended up winning Frankie back. Thank God. Which I believe Frankie then died in a house fire. I don't know if it's the same Frankie. But we'll move on from there. Then there was a guy named Randy X, which was not Rockin' Randy as Malcolm X, as I had assumed.
I think he did that in 1997.
Yeah, but this was Randy Hales, who's a Memphis name that you would know. He was a promoter, he was a manager, all kinds of stuff. So he was a white guy named Randy X. And then they had Queen Moesha, potentially named after the TV show, played by Miss Jacqueline.
Queen Moesha?
Yeah.
That's insane. Hey, that's Queen Latifah and Moesha, right?
I would assume so, yes.
That is okay. We played that wrestler name mix-up game a couple weeks ago.
That's a good one.
Do we need to do one for basketball players and rappers as well?
Well,
Queen Moesha.
Here's personally my favorite one. And if you want to talk about basketball players, you want to talk about boxers, you want to talk about rappers, this is my personal favorite name, who was in the Nation of Domination USWA version, Shaquille Ali. Shaquille Ali. And I will give you each one guess as to who played Shaquille Ali.
Oh.
Anybody you guys want to guess who played Shaquille Ali?
The Rock.
In Men on a Mission.
In the Nation of
No, just
Domination.
in the Nation.
Okay, I'm getting
That
all
is now
confused.
two of the three members of this podcast who have confused Men on a Mission and Nation of Domination.
I'm legitimately going with The Rock.
Okay.
D'Lo Brown. I don't know.
That's a much better guess than mine.
Tracy Smothers. Tracy Smothers played Shaquille Ali
Oh man, that's good stuff.
in the
That is
greatest
good stuff.
stable in the history of professional wrestling.
Wow. See, that is. I mean, I love USWA. I love wrestling in general. I listen to all sorts of wrestling podcasts. You've heard me complain about wrestling podcasts before. I've never in my life heard that story of those names of the Nation of Domination in USWA. Specifically, Tracy Smothers was in it and had the name Shaquille Ali, and that is amazing information that you can only get here on the Bittermarks podcast.
Yeah, I feel like that's what this podcast is about. Like, sure, people probably knew that, but we didn't know that. And so us finding out about it is like a great thing to do live.
Please tell me that there's a picture of Tracy Smothers.
I want an action figure
as
of Tracy
Shaquille
Smothers
Ali.
in the Nation
Please.
of Domination.
I found a couple pictures of the USWA version of Nation of Domination, but they were such bad quality, I just didn't want to send them to Peewee. But I guess next week I can do that.
Sure, we can do some follow-up.
But the best part of it is, like, they were a dominant force in the USWA. It wasn't like a joke gimmick. Like, their names are all hilarious, but they had like world titles in their stable and stuff like that. So I don't know. I definitely could see this week's artwork being that horrible, horrible picture with our heads on it. So
that works.
Just,
there you go.
Just a heads up on that one. 3 Cups Stuffed, the show that we are potentially going to. I say potentially because COVID mania is running wild once again. We're about a month away from that show, just under a month. And they announced another person who's going to be on that show, Too Cold Scorpio. What do you think about that, Peewee?
Great. I don't care. This to me, I don't need to see Too Cold Scorpio up after his bedtime doing a 450 onto some guy in the middle of a hardcore match.
Oh, I do.
I'm fine with seeing the kids go there and beat each other up and do stupid stuff, but no, I honestly don't need to see Too Cold Scorpio. No,
Isn't it like
I enjoyed seeing like
too?
Yeah, right. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Way past his bedtime. I was fine with seeing Lawler last time and Gangrel against Orange Cassidy, like those simple matches. But that's not what he does. I saw him on that GCW pay-per-view, the most recent one. He's doing like Too Cold Scorpio stuff. He's not working like an old timers match. He's just working a Too Cold Scorpio match from 1996.
That's because he's the greatest athlete in the history of the sport.
I get too worried. I'm an old man. I worry for other old men, and I get too worried, and it's too much stress on me.
I'm taking 2 pictures with Too Cold Scorpio, one for me, and then one that you can edit yourself into at a later date, because you will regret not taking a picture with this man. They announced
John in the chat asked a great question. What does 3-cup stuff mean?
I believe 2-cup stuffed is a hip hop reference to the purple drank. Drank? I don't know. Giuseppe can probably.
Okay, yeah, that's a good call. Giuseppe, please break down 2-cup stuff.
But as you can see behind the 3-cup stuff, there is purple. Do the kids call it scissorup? Can you spell scissorup?
I mean, I've seen 2 girls 1 cup, but that's something completely different.
Yeah, that's not purple. Hopefully, that's like codeine and like I don't know what it is, Kool-Aid or whatever.
It's a Cosby cocktail, is what it is. I think.
Yeah. It's a like famous drink, potentially drank by rappers. This could all be extremely offensive to people. I'm not really sure what exactly it is, but that's what I believe what the 2-cup stuffed is. And 3-cup stuffed is because they already had 2-cup stuff last year, so I believe they just added 3, even though it's the second event in the series, which is
why. And that was the poster that you were looking for, and then Ivica eventually sent you, right?
Yes, I spent a lot of money to buy that poster, and then Ivica spent a lot of money to make it for me because I never got the original poster. They did announce.
Don't get a poster again, and then you got to go through this again.
They did announce that Too Cold Scorpio is going to be taking on a guy named Stallion Rogers, who is Kurt Stallion from the Indies. You wouldn't like him, Peewee, because he is a little bit skinny, but he is the guy who just recently got released from the WWE, even though he was there for less than a year. They were pushing him on 205 Live for a little while. He's a decent wrestler. I like seeing him live at AAW. He's a free agent again, so that should be a cool match. They also announced Alex Shelley, Motor City Machine Guns versus Filthy Tom Lawler.
Oh, yeah. I love me some Filthy Tom.
Really? Why? Or how?
We've done shows with him. I mean, I've done shows with him. He used to work for Randy occasionally.
Really?
Yeah.
He an MMA guy, right?
Yeah. I don't know much about him, but I just have a history with him, so that'll be cool.
I think he's a MLW guy. I believe he's like one of their main guys or whatever. And then the other match that they announced is G Raver, who I believe is the guy who cut his arm or whatever when we saw last year. The guy who had to be escorted out.
Yeah. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad
taking
he's doing
on,
okay.
Yeah, taking on Jimmy Lloyd, who I feel is like the Tommy Dreamer of GCW. He's just like, the people love him. He's been there for a long time.
I hate that name. I've heard that name before. I hate that name as a wrestling name. Jimmy Lloyd.
Yeah. Why do you hate it?
It's just, to me, it's not marketable. Like, there's nothing. Jimmy Lloyd sounds like a name from Dumb and Dumber. Like, it's a.
Yeah, I mean, if you see him, there's not much marketable either.
Right. I mean,
although people might not, GCW fans would get angry with me for saying that because it's like making fun of Tommy Dreamer and ECW. But Giuseppe says Young Thug, so I don't know what that means. Oh, song by Young Thug. Okay. So there.
Still don't know what that means. Okay.
Still no clue, but I was close. We'll just go with I was close. Speaking of which, about Stallion, whatever his name is, WWE released 12 more people, including Bronson Reed, who's on TV. He was just their North American champ at NXT. Bobby Fish, who's Connor's favorite wrestler besides Andre the Giant. Tyler Rust, who is in a stable that was just created like a month or two ago.
Really?
Yeah, a bunch of guys, and according to your boy Peewee, Dave Meltzer, there's some sort of memo that went out that said no more midgets and no more guys in their 30s. So it looks like
the guys starting in their 30s. I did see this, but like that's word for word, Tony, what it said. Somebody has a memo from Titan Tower. The memo got out, and they don't know who wrote it, but we can assume it said no more midgets, no guys starting in their 30s. And then what was the last line?
I don't remember.
Yeah, don't worry about it. But yeah, that was.
No,
I really feel for those guys. So they cleaned house.
Starting in their 30s.
It was something like guys who can main event Mania or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
But this prompted the Young Bucks to update their Twitter bio, which said, "Not in our 30s and very tall," which is solid. I will take that.
Yeah, that's funny.
I don't know. Do you care about this? Ricochet's in his 30s and he's 5'9". Do you think he's going to get released next week?
I don't know what's going to happen. Honestly, I feel bad for the NXT guys. I don't know what they're doing with NXT. The 12 guys that they released, Tony, were like 12 guys who are on television with NXT.
Yeah.
Sure. Rumor is, and maybe some stuff has come out since then, and maybe I'm just behind on the dirt sheet stuff, but that Triple H is no longer in charge of NXT. Like the reins have been taken away from him, and they're rehauling everything.
Yeah, they want to make it like a minor league again.
Like developmental, yeah.
Isn't that what it was? I'm confused.
No, I think my guess is that the problem was that how do you debut a guy on Raw if his NXT gimmick, if he gets so over on NXT that yes, his gimmick and his storyline will work on NXT, but it might not. NXT and Raw are two different products, right? Like it's two different styles of wrestling TV shows. Yes, it would work on the NXT show, but that same storyline and that same gimmick and that same persona would not translate per se to a Raw show. So the problem what you have is NXT is too big. They're defining their wrestlers and they're giving their wrestlers names and they're defining them too much. So when they're
having
called
success.
Up, yeah, exactly right. Yes, so when they get called up, they cannot do anything to break that mold that they already had.
Oh, so they have a branding problem, is what your sounds like to me. Like
it's
they're
like
building brands in
brand.
NXT. Yeah, and then like they can't break it when they want to do something else with them.
That's
in
my
the big
guess.
leagues.
That's my guess as to what's happened. So they're have
trying
just cleaned
to tell
house.
everybody that it's a third brand, like Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Like it's a just different option. But Triple H created this, successful third brand. And then, like, you have your champion gets called up to Raw. Vince doesn't watch NXT, is what everybody says. I mean, who knows what the truth is about that. But you bring the NXT champion up, and then Vince has him lose, like, consecutively to Jeff Hardy. Like, legitimately happened the first week. So Vince doesn't see it as a third brand, but they're trying to sell it as a third brand. And now it turns out it's going to be just a bunch of steroided up 20-year-olds, probably. Allegedly. Where's the allegedly button, Peewee?
I'll get it.
Like, who knows what it's going to be or whatever. But, yeah, it's not good for anybody there.
I just feel bad for the guys that, especially the guys that have only been with NXT for 6 months or a year. Like, they had to uproot their family and move everything they had down to Florida or wherever they're recording. And now all of a sudden they're out of a job and have to find homes elsewhere. They got to move back or find something else to do to continue that lifestyle that they just got uprooted to do. It's a shame. I do feel bad for those guys.
Yeah, and I agree with Hattori Hanzo. He says it's better than the flagship product, and NXT UK is better than anything Vince has aired in years. UK, it's not like I've watched it a bunch of times, but when I have watched it, it's like, yeah, that reminds me of wrestling, whereas Raw had a puppet that blinked at someone this week, and that person got pinned because a puppet blinked at them. No, I did not watch.
I'm listening.
I did not watch. Speaking of dominating the internet this week, I don't know if you guys saw this. It was trending on Twitter. Peewee, I don't think you knew that it was trending on Twitter, at least based on you asking me a question. Did you happen to see that Black John Cena was trending on Twitter?
What? I did
there
not.
He is.
I did not.
You want to be on the YouTube page for this one. There he is, Black John Cena. You can see Black John Cena.
I was going to say, Peewee, put up the picture. I don't see anything.
This was trending, and it was kind of a
trending.
shame.
Jesus, you sent this to me. So Sasha sends me this picture, right? So we're getting ready for this podcast. He sends me this picture and then some other stuff, and I'm like, okay, what is this? Like, how do I know? What are you gonna say that I then know to click the activate button and I show this picture? And then he tells me Black Cena. I asked him, can we do this? Like, we had a horrible show last week. I don't want this episode to be our last episode. I was very concerned about this. This was trending in a positive way.
Yeah. It's just people found the picture of this guy, and so people were putting up like side to side pictures of him and John Cena. It is very John Cena like. I mean, it really is.
It's like when people put pictures of Troy Aikman up and say he's the white Jay-Z. Have you ever seen those pictures?
Wow, no, I have not.
You should Google search that. That Troy Aikman is the white Jay-Z. Look at pictures of them side to side. It's kind of weird.
Tony, I want to ask you a question. Does this guy look more like John Cena, or does this next picture look more like Black Hulk Hogan? There he is.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I don't know what we're doing here, but I think we should stop immediately.
I disagree. There's nothing wrong with this. Okay, I have a question for you, Peewee. Can you tell me which African-American professional wrestlers you hate and what you hate about them?
What?
That's what I would like to know.
I can't think of a single African-American wrestler that I don't like.
I agree. I agree 100%, and that's how we get to the whoosh. All right, guys. Can you guys do an impression of French people for me? Like French people talking? This is where I need your improv skills. On the count of 3, okay? I want you to do your best impression of a French guy. We're all going to do it at the same time. It's not going to make sense to you right now, but it will in like 30 seconds. Can we do this for me, for my birthday?
No, right? Like
your birthday was like 2 months ago, dude.
Come on. For my next birthday. You don't have to give me anything.
What do we have to say? Is it just anything?
Just do an impression of a stereotypical French impression. Do you want me to give you what it sounds like?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Like
I want that.
Right? That's like an ignorant French impression.
Yeah, okay. There you go. Okay. Sure.
Will you guys lose jobs if you do this or no?
I'd rather not risk it. Okay. I don't think it's a good choice.
That's it. Fine. I will just repeatedly play that in the future.
Guys, Sasha's known for a week that last week's episode sucked. And he's had 7 full days to prepare for this episode, the content that we're filling this episode with. And this is what we have.
Listen, I wish I had some teammates on my team over here that would help me out. I just have 2 assholes over here. There we go. Hattori Hanzo, La Resistance. That's what I'm trying to get to here.
Okay.
Goldberg.
I feel like there's better ways to get there.
There are not. There are 0 better ways to get there. Goldberg injures people. We know this, correct?
Sure.
Did we not know that Goldberg injures people outside of the ring as well? That's right. It's time to sound the Rene Dupree alarm, which is what I would have had if we all had agreed to do this goddamn French accent. But now we don't have that because I have poor improv team. What did I ask you guys before we started this show? I said I'm gonna need your improv skills.
Well, here's the thing. Improv and like if you just put somebody on the spot and say, "Hey, say something in a French accent," like, what do you want me to say?
I gave you the example. I gave you the example.
Like, anyway. Hey, Bitter Marks, it's gonna get canceled. Wait, that's Italian. That's bad.
That was something.
Is that okay?
Yes,
I don't think so, but it's fine.
Who said that? We have video of it. Never mind. Anyway, Rene Dupree was recently on an appearance of some podcast, and he discussed working with Goldberg. He claims that Goldberg dislocated his collarbone. Here's what he said. Yes, he dislocated my collarbone. We, La Resistance, had a pre-tape in the back with Goldberg, and he hit me with the French flag, and we had to do 5 takes. 5 takes to get hit by a French flag. Wow, that was close. To this day, I try to flex, and it still hurts. Yeah, he's the shits. He's horrible. Many wrestlers will tell you that. While talking about why he thinks WWE still uses Goldberg, he said that the company is desperate, they can't create new stars, and they don't have confidence in the people that they have. I just wanted to talk about Rene Dupree, as he is listed in our YouTube video, and I'm a big fan. And in the future, apparently we won't have a Rene Dupree alarm. I'm sorry.
I'm fine with that. I have no regrets in the last 5 minutes.
Goldberg takes on Lashley for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam, which we're going to be watching at producer Tony's house. Yeah. Who's going to win?
Oh, you want predictions?
Sure.
When is it? Do we have to do official predictions for this soon?
It's next weekend, yeah?
I literally just told you the match. I asked for a prediction, and I told you when it was. And then you asked me those 3 questions.
I'm going to go with
Lashley.
Okay,
forget it. We're moving on. Rest in peace, Christ. Super Porky. We talked about this last week, but I wanted to show who Super Porky is this week. And so I found a picture of him from SmackDown. This is him and Teddy Long, who's clearly upset with his life choices, just as we are.
I can absolutely relate to how Teddy Long is feeling right now.
I am the Super Porky of this podcast. I only found out about Super Porky because of this picture that is on YouTube. Because when I was doing my rewatch, I saw who Super Porky was, and I was like, "What is this?
What is he eating? I can't really tell in that picture."
It's a large ham, I believe.
A ham. Okay.
Yeah. There's many pictures of him eating.
So you
eating
know
large
the context of this? Why did they bring Super Porky in?
I don't remember at this point. Okay. Because I blocked it out of memory, but he was there with a couple other people, and I think he was there for a couple weeks, and every single week he was eating a ham. Do
you know if they called him Super Porky?
I believe they did, yeah.
Wow. Was it the same ham?
Potentially the same ham, yes. He is the Hispanic Otis, if you will. Next up is Bobby Eaton, who passed away. Bobby Eaton, obviously Midnight Express. Only 62 years old. Crazy thing that I found out was that his wife just died 2 months ago. She was the daughter of Bill Dundee, which I had known. I'd known about that, but I didn't know that she died 2 months ago, I believe, of cancer. What are your memories of Bobby Eaton, Peewee? Do you have a lot of memories of Bobby Eaton?
No, I think I just have the one main one, and I hope I'm not confusing him with somebody else, is when one of our bus trips to the arena. Didn't Bobby Eaton make like a surprise appearance at the end of the show?
I don't know. That doesn't sound...
it doesn't sound correct, but it was an old-timer like that. And I want to say it was Bobby Eaton. If you were there, who would know? Primetime's not in the chat today. That's fine. I can look it up in a second. But I believe it was Bobby Eaton did some sort of run-in at the end of a ECW show at the arena. And that's really my whole experience with him.
Yeah, I think he tagged with like... I don't want to say New Jack, but it was like somebody and against like Terry Funk or something like that. I don't know. He did spend some time in ECW, but I don't remember the exact like circumstances of it. I remember him mostly from like Saturday nights, like later in his career. Sure. And like maybe right before NWO, like pre-NWO WCW. And then obviously you go back and you watch Midnight Express stuff and you see that, but like live seeing him the first time, I want to say was probably like in the mid 90s or something like that.
Were you a big Midnight Express guy?
Not really. I mean, like I definitely have respect for the Rock and Roll Express and Midnight Express and Cornette and all that stuff that was just great, but like
sure.
I don't know. It wasn't really.
I mean, I was in some locker. Now that you're saying that, I was in some locker rooms with him for the next guy we're going to talk about. For Bert's shows, Bert would bring in Cornette with Eaton and Stan Lane. And Stan Lane, right?
Yeah. Stan Lane, whose daughter is that fine young woman, politician. What's her name?
I don't know.
She's a crazy nut. not
really?
Marjorie. Yeah. I can't remember. Lauren.
Before you get yourself in trouble, Ivica is confirming that we did see Bobby Eaton at the arena.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so he died in his sleep. If you're listening to this on Friday when we release this, it would have actually been his 63rd birthday tomorrow, which is like sad as well. But yeah, obviously rest in peace.
That's another good call. Midnight Express theme, that was a big part of our lives for a while.
Yeah, very true. He had like a very good reputation. I'd never heard anything bad about him. Everything I've read.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
And then the last person, Burt Prentice. I mostly know Burt Prentice from Music City Wrestling.
Sure. Honey Love.
Honey Love, Music City Wrestling. Only met him one time. That's not the picture I sent you, but it's probably a better picture than the one I sent you.
I could put the picture up there. Here's the picture you wanted me to show.
There it is.
Him and Marty.
That's Marty telling him how many bags of coke he needs to get paid before he goes out there. Allegedly.
Marty outlived him. That's a shocker.
Marty is the Keith Richards of professional wrestling. Peewee, I know you got some thoughts on a Burt Prentice.
Yeah, this sucked, man. Tony, did you hear that Burt died?
Yeah, I did. I did hear that, and I know you knew him quite well.
Yeah, absolutely. I celebrated one of his birthdays with him. I think it might have been his 50th birthday. Would that be 2008? Yeah, I want to say it was a big birthday. I knew Burt from my time going down to USA Pro Wrestling. That's where Randy would send us. Me, longtime Kurt, would take trips down there. I worked for Burt for 6 months, going down there every weekend or every other weekend, driving 8 hours there, 8 hours back, doing his shows for USA Pro Wrestling. And it was some of the greatest memories I have during my, the first run of my wrestling career. Burt was an old school guy. His shows, his shows were the only shows I'd do where you'd get to the building, and if you drove there, like we would drive with Longtime or Kurt was in the car, or we did. Even we went down with Brandon, we went down with Greg, we went down with Randy, we went down with guys who were going to be heels and faces on the show. Burt's so old school that if you drive down with heels or faces, or for me, for being a ref, you all need to park far away, get out of the car separately, and the babies walk into the building together, the heels walk in together, and then the referees walk in separately.
Wow.
And then, it's awesome. And then furthermore, the locker rooms are separate. There's a baby locker room and there's a heel locker room. You don't talk to your guy before the match. The first time you talk to your opponent is in the ring. Now, sometimes you would have to use me, the referee, to go between if there was something big that we needed planned and they couldn't meet up. They would talk to me. I'd be the liaison. They would tell me what they needed. What the baby would grab me. Hey, Peewee, here's what I need the heel to do. Here's what I got planned. I would then bring that message back to the heel locker room, tell that guy, and we'd go back and forth that way. This was before cell phones. This was before all that. And it was just a funner time. The work that Burt put into the seriousness that he took to wrestling, it paid off in front of the Nashville crowd. They thought it was real. They hated the heels and they loved the baby faces. And because of that, they would get on the referees for making bad calls. And it was just a good time by everybody. I really, really enjoyed my time working for Burt. And honestly, it's a shame that I didn't get to talk to him more in this second coming of this little mini career that I've kickstarted again. If you remember, the last time that I had any communication with Burt was on this podcast, literally on this podcast. I was messaging him about those TNA tryout tapes, and I'd messaged him before one of our episodes started, and he responded to me live on an episode that we were recording here. So sadly that was the last time I ever talked to Burt. And I'm really gonna miss him. That's a shame. I know he's been suffering for a while, so I know he's in a better place now. But it still sucks, man. It sucks when you lose anybody. Yeah,
and selfishly for me, that means I'm never gonna see that tape of my last match.
I did have that thought. It's a selfish thought, but maybe somebody down the line will take over for Burt and we can reach out to them. But finding out who that is going to be difficult.
I did actually purchase the DVD today, the Legends Fest 2002 on High Spots. I was
Really?
like, yeah, because I was searching for Burt Prentice pictures to send to you, obviously.
If you don't know, that's the show that we did that doesn't have the dark matches of Sasha's match tagging with Kurt and the twins on it. So it's you bought it today?
Yeah, literally today.
That's crazy. Okay.
$9.99 on High Spots. It's like a DVD-R. And then I bought this like grab bag of stuff, just like random stuff that they'll send you. So whenever I get that, I'll show you. But I type in Burt Prentice and I go to Google Images to look at the pictures to send you. And I start scrolling down, and then a couple, like 20, 30 pictures down comes the poster for Legends Fest. Not the poster, the DVD cover with
oh, okay. I was going to say the
Lawler
poster would be cool to
Dusty.
have, yeah.
Yeah, and so that like went into my mind. I was like, oh, that'd be cool to have this blown up.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then I clicked on it, and then it was the High Spots link or whatever, and it took me to the High Spots page, and I was like, I'm just gonna buy this. Let me just buy this. I want to have this at least.
That's gonna have some matches of me reffing stuff on there. But please let me know.
That's why I kind of did it. I was like, if Peewee did anything else on this show, like it'll be cool to have. So
I'm sure I did. I had to.
Rest in peace, all those people.
Yeah.
Let's do some figure talk here.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk too much about my first thing here.
Okay.
We talked about the Heels and Faces Jeff Jarrett figure, the awesome paint job, and all that kind of stuff. This is the thing that was, they put up on their website here. Add to cart. You see what that says down there, Peewee? $40 I'm okay with. $40 for figures like this nowadays.
Right.
I understand it. I'm probably not going to order it, but I understand it. ETA February?
Right, I get it.
It was July when this came up.
I understand your concerns and your frustration with that, but coming from I have more experience in the action figure realm, and this is before even the boom, with all of these made-to-order figures, like they don't know how many they're going to make, right? They're only going to make as many as get ordered, and then from there, so they can't start making them until the window has closed on the open orders, which I think is in a couple days on this figure specifically. From there, it takes months to make a figure. It takes months to get everything, the design and everything worked out and finalized with China. It takes months to have these stuff produced and properly done in China and packaged, and then it takes months to ship it back by boat and get it back over here for distribution. I mean,
totally look at those straps. That didn't take a long time to pan paint those, every single one of them. Yeah.
Bullshit. What if Super Porky ordered one of these? He can't enjoy it. He can't enjoy it because he's gone.
I agree. I mean, they're not. None of this stuff nowadays is 6 months is. I've waited over a year for figures. I have some stuff from Super 7. I bought figures representing the He-Man Masters of the Universe movie, the Dolph Lundgren movie.
God,
dude, the figures are dead on though. And I waited over a year and a half to get those. I ordered them and then just waited. It's just something that happens in the wrestling figure, not even wrestling, just the action figure community. Most people are fine with that. The February, to me, honestly, I think I would imagine it gets pushed back, especially with COVID running wild and making a huge comeback. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets pushed back till summer.
I'm glad I'm not a figure guy. I got my EC3. And,
notice it doesn't say which February. It could be 2022.
I like that.
It could be 23. Who knows?
You might not be a figure guy, but I made some purchases this week, and I wanted to show those off real quick. I know we're running short on time. I found this. I know it's tiny.
So did Hattori Hanzo. I was going to bring it up.
It's this figure. This is the Bam Bam Bigelow figure. I like this because it's the ECW Bam Bam.
Yeah, the ECW TV title.
Yeah, right. The belt honestly, it's not the correct belt for when Bam Bam held it, but I don't care. I just think it's a cool figure. I don't know if I'm going to keep it for a long time, but I saw it in the store and got excited about it. The other one I got even more excited about. Sasha, you might know about this. Tony, I don't think you know about this. Check this figure out. It's going to be tough to see with the glare, so I've got this.
I see it's a Macho Man.
It's not a Macho Man.
It's the Macho Man.
Look at the graphic on the box. Do you see how he's got his fingers up in that pinched formation?
Oh, he's got the cup. Yeah, he's got the
Oh,
cream.
he's got the cup of coffee.
This is
Goofy.
Goofy Macho Man. He comes with a hand that's holding the cream.
Top.
This figure is unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought that they had made all the Macho Mans they could until they finally break out this masterpiece.
Do you have a Mean Gene figure you could put him next to with the?
Not yet.
You got to get one
soon enough. I guarantee I will. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that up there because I thought you both would enjoy the.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Hattori Hanzo actually sent me a picture of that Bam Bam figure. I'm not sure if he bought it or not, but I also looked at it and was like, that would be a cool figure to have, and that's like. Right? Yeah, that's like the type of figure that that could go next to my EC3 over here. You know,
this might get gifted to you at some point. It fits in with your collection a lot more than mine. I can't have Hogan, Andre, Warrior, and then like a random Bam Bam Bigelow. So we'll see.
Yeah, Bigelow's great. I've been watching a lot of his matches lately too, and I'm just like, man, he was so good. All right, that's not an effort to get that figure though.
Well, I'll let you know. Do we want to talk about the big action figure news this week, this month, this whatever?
Yeah, let's do it.
The wrestling figure community is up in arms over this, and I don't think, Sasha, you're going to like this, but I'm assuming you've heard of it. This is that absolutely. Mattel Creations WWE Ultimate Edition New Generation ring for $250. So, Tony, I'm assuming you're not aware of this. This is a crowdfunding campaign put by Mattel Creations.
Like a Kickstarter?
Yes. In that if they have to get 5,000 people to back it in the span of a month, they announced this during San Diego Comic-Con a couple of weeks ago, and they've got until, I think, August 23rd or so. If John's in the chat, he could probably confirm the date. They've got until August 23rd to reach the 5,000 backers. And if they do, they will get, for $250, you get what they're calling a real scale ring. This is the first time that Mattel has released a ring that's true to scale for the figures that they're putting out. So this Kevin Nash that you see on screen is in 6-inch scale. It's Kevin Nash, so he's huge. So he's probably like 7 inches. But the ring, that means that every inch is a foot, and that the ring is 21 3/4 inches by 21 3/4 inches. So it's almost 22 inches by 22 inches. It is a huge freaking ring, right? And Mattel has never made one that has been totally accurate to scale. They've made some that have been close, but nothing that's been super, super accurate. In addition to that, these rings that people have made these before, they usually go for about $100. You get a Kevin Nash Ultimate figure. The Ultimate figures usually go in stores for about $30. Thank you, John. You have until August 22nd to pick this up. And then the big thing that nobody really knows how to price is this WWE neon. It looks like the 1995, 1996 entranceway. Now, the sad part is it only has a W on top. Normally, it has like the F part on the side. But because they don't have WWF anymore, they can't do that. So it looks a little off. But this whole thing will light up. And it's for $250. And they announced that this whole set would be available at Comic-Con. During Comic-Con, there was no Comic-Con to actually release it. And that's when the Kickstarter started. Now, if they can keep this going, and if they get to 5,000, that allows this thing to be made, and people who ordered it will get this. If 7,000, I think it's 7,000, right? If 7,000 people order, they add on a Doink figure. So there's no additional charge. And I know this sounds silly, but honestly, in the wrestling figure community, the Doink figure is a big one. They've gotten Kevin Nash figures before, but the last time they got a Doink figure was a very long time ago. And now the people are looking for an updated, detailed Doink. And that's what this would be. This would be one of those ultimate figures that has 62 points of articulation, a ton of different accessories.
Doink? Which one?
Evil Doink.
Doink.
This is Matt Bourne Doink, but it's also, they said it's going to come with different heads, so maybe it'll be different Doinks.
Wow, that's creepy.
Yeah, and then
I'd like if they had post-match Doink where his paint was on the other person.
That's an option too.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that's definitely an option. And then if it keeps going, so that's 7,000. If it gets to 8,000, all they're doing is adding more ring skirts to the outside. I think this ring skirt is one of them. This in your house ring skirt. So I honestly I don't like the strategy there. I don't think the last stretch goal should be ring skirts. I mean that to me should be thrown in with the $5,000 one. But this thing is up in arms. They have. I'm gonna go back to the original picture. They have been pushing this and pushing this and pushing this for I think 2 or 3 weeks now, and the campaign is only at 2,400 people. I think it's 2,400. I might be off with that number. They're about halfway there. And that's after all of this pushing. And with these campaigns, usually the most amount of work is done in the first day, if not the first week. You know what I mean? Like everybody's excited about it. They want to back it. But people are complaining. People are saying, well, give us the doink. You know, we don't want to, this isn't going to get to 5,000 people. It's not going to get to, if we leave it as is, it's not going to get there. Give us the doink early. Give us the doink at 5,000, and maybe that'll convince people to back it faster. Mattel's not doing that. They did say they are going to make a change. The change that they did say they were going to make, they're going to add a commentator set. Now, there are some caveats to this. So the commentator set is going to come with a table, the blue sheet that went over the table, some blue chairs that Mattel has never done. I guess the microphones are a big deal. The monitors are a big deal, blah, blah, blah. And it also comes with another macho that I didn't think we were going to get, in addition to that cream of the crop one. The announcer macho from the mid 90s, like macho sitting at the desk, which I think is cool. And they're just throwing that in at the base level. But the catch is you only get macho if you order between now and August 13th. So 3 days from now. If you order on August 14th through the end of the campaign, August 22nd, you do not get Macho Man. You get the rest of the stuff, but you don't get Macho Man. You don't get the announce table. I don't understand the theory there. There's a lot of things I don't understand. I feel like they're trying and that they're listening to all the complaints that people have had. But my biggest concern with this thing, and let me get your thoughts on this. For $250, the majority of that cost is the ring, right? It is this giant 22-inch by 22-inch square that I need to find some room to display. If you're an action figure collector, do you have room for that? Or do you already have a ring? You know what I mean? Like, can I invest $250 to... it's not about the money. It's really just about the space. Can I invest the space in my collection area to put this ring? I don't think you can. I think that's one of the biggest problems. One of the selling points that they're giving on this ring is that you take the canvas off. Yeah. I know you're going to pop for this, right? But Tony, let me get your thoughts on this. So if you take the canvas off, under it is individual planks of wood. Now, I believe they're just plastic, but they look like planks of wood. And if you've put a ring together, you know that is what is under a ring. Like, that's how you build a ring. You build the metal trusses first, you build up the posts, and then you lay the boards across. This is the first time a ring toy has ever been released that has the planks of wood. That's cool to somebody that's put a ring together or knows what's going on under, like, the mat and everything. But is that cool to anybody else?
So, hold on.
I know you. That's the thing.
I think this is great.
It's totally ridiculous.
Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, I think this is all stuff looks great. It all looks great. I wish that they would charge more. Like, make it $800 to milk all the money out of these man children that they could get. All right. And that detail is hilarious because who the fuck is going to buy a $250 ring and then lift the canvas up? I mean, you're going to want to put Doink in there. Yeah.
And then think about this, Tony. A ring, when it's normally made, you put the planks of wood on, then you put a pad over it so it like smooths everything out, and then you put the canvas over it. There's no pad here. It's just going to be wood. Like, it's just going to be like planks of plastic under the canvas. I don't care about the accuracy. It's going to be uneven. Getting figures to stand up in this ring is going to be impossible. I can't believe that this is the selling point on this thing.
If they make the Doink figure, can they make a Dink figure that goes under that ring?
That's what everybody wants. Everybody is constantly just giving, like, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? And Mattel's like, no, we already gave you the Macho Man. We gave you the announcer set. We can't change anything else. We're doing what we can. Before the Macho Man was announced, they had been like 2 weeks into the campaign, and they were under 1,000 backers. right? It was going.
Yeah, they've been holding
going
out
terribly. They've
been holding on to that dink or that doink.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way they're getting the doink. The only shot that they have, this happened. This is not the first crowdfunding backing thing that Mattel has done. Mattel's done this stuff for years. This is just the first wrestling thing that they've done for it. The original backing was a Star Wars Jabba the Hutt barge. His giant ship that was where you're familiar with the movies, Tony. I know Sasha's not, but if you look at how big this thing is, that's a Jabba the Hutt toy sitting in it versus the size of the ship. Like, it's to scale with the original Star Wars figures. This thing was massive, and it was like $400 or $500, and they could not get people to back it originally. Now, people are saying, now eventually it did get backed. They had a huge campaign the last 3 days where it said back the barge, hashtag back the barge, and it did barely get backed. This was years ago. And now, if you have the barge now, originally you paid $400 to $500 for it. Now, it sells on eBay. This is the box it comes in. And the most recent one sold for $2,500. Right? Right. Good investment. If you're turning 400, Sasha and I also host Flips and Bumps. That's a great investment. People are talking constantly. The biggest talk about this thing is if you're not interested in it, but you do want Mattel to keep making these opportunities for crowdfunding wrestling things that you do want, even if you don't want the ring, buy it. Buy it because it's an investment and you can sell it down the line. You can sell the ring individually. You can sell it with the figures. You can keep the figures. You can do whatever you want. Probably just the ring is going to go for astronomical amounts of money. I don't agree with any of that.
I think the size of the ring or whatever, that's the least of my problems with this thing. $250 is too much. I'm a cheap man. And you're just going to throw in this Kevin Nash. Who cares about Kevin Nash? John says the people that play are kids. Do kids care about Diesel and Doink? I don't think kids are part of this.
Totally.
No, kids aren't buying this.
Yeah, this is as producer Tony says, the man children. That's who is getting this. And that the man children are the ones who care about the underneath of the ring as well. And it's not something that you even have to show to anybody. It's just you personally have to know that there are planks.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm with you.
That's how I think of it. I would be happy to have planks under my
if you were going to get a ring, this would be the one.
I will pay $45 just to get the lumber and the metal. I will get my own estimates for the ring.
I like that. I like to just piece it out one piece at a time. I like that a lot. I think this is a terrible, terrible route to go down. I don't think one of the big arguments, and I hear this talk all the time on that Major Wrestling Figure podcast, Cardona and Myers are really pushing this thing strong because, yes, they want it to get backed and they want more opportunities for this crowdfunding to happen down the line, which I totally agree with. But I think when this thing finally does get released, and if it does get funded and then it does get shipped in a year from now or whenever it is, imagine how many rings are going to be on the market initially. It's going to be impossible to sell them for any sort of profit at the beginning, even if you hold on to it. I don't think you can compare this to the barge, the Jabba the Hutt barges thing. I don't think you can compare this to the $2,500 item, right? Hold on a second, my computer's messing.
I don't know. I don't know what that bullshit is. Giuseppe says, I don't know anything about collectibles, but I can't imagine anything WWE is even close to as collectible, valuable, rare, or attractive as Star Wars crap.
I don't agree.
I kind of disagree.
Yeah, I do disagree with that because think of the people who are collecting WWE stuff and who are totally invested. Yeah. My thing is when the barge was available, I don't know what year this was. My gut is saying 2012. 2012, there was not an action figure collecting boom. Now, in 2021, there is, and that's where you're getting this $2,500 price tag. But because we're in the middle of the boom and they're releasing the stupid ring with the boards on it, now the boom's already going on. There's nobody to sell it to down the line. It's not going to boom even higher. The boom's here, so if it's going to sell, it's just going to sell in that promotion. People aren't going to, hold their breath on it now and then wait to pay the reseller prices later. If they want it, they're just going to pay the $250 now. I don't think comparing this to Back the Barge is the way to go. I do think it needs to get backed. I'm considering, not that one. I'm considering.
I like it.
I love
like
that you keep messing up the pictures. That's
trying to
hilarious.
make a point and run this thing is impossible.
I know it. You're clicking a lot of buttons, and you're doing the Lord's work. But crowdfunding has always been bullshit. I hate it. This is a scam. That's what this is.
Now I don't agree with that.
If you want to make a product, make a product. Do some goddamn research.
But that's the thing. They can't. They can't put this in stores. They can't put this online. Mattel would not give WWE and the guys behind the WWE Mattel team the opportunity to make an item this big and this costly. They wouldn't just it's too big of a risk for Mattel. They need to know that the audience is there for it, that there are going to be 5,000 people that are willing to spend $250 on this set. And from there, then Mattel says, okay, without this, it's not a scam. Without this, we don't get the opportunity to... Now, again, we don't care about this. This isn't something we're going to buy to enjoy. But the wrestling fans don't get the opportunity to get big play sets like this. They don't get the opportunity to get big backdrops like that. They don't get those opportunities unless the backing is proven. And the only way you can do that is by crowdfunding. I know both of you guys have very strong opinions on crowdfunding. I feel like I'm on the totally opposite end of the spectrum. I'm open to it, but you got to make it a good argument for the crowdfunding, and I don't think they have at this point. The only reason I would back this is to encourage them to crowdfund stuff down the line. For a while, I was considering picking up 3 of these to just try to flip them. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, no, I can't do that because there's no certainty on what these things are going to go for. But then I keep going back and forth on the limitedness. I don't think the ring is worth anything. Right? If we're just talking numbers, I think the ring is valueless on a flipping point. The Diesel is going to be at a minimum a 1 of 5,000 figure, right? AEW currently has figures right now that are they're out on shelves, but they have chase figures that are numbered 1 through 5,000. If you can find one of those in a Target, it sells for $900 to $1,600, just that one figure, and that's a 1 of 5,000. So that's the equivalent of the Diesel. If you can get to the Doink, now the Doink is going to be 1 of 7,000. So it's going to be the same story. If we get to 7,000 Doinks, we're also at 7,000 Diesels. The catch is the Macho Man. Macho Man is not guaranteed to be 5,000. Right? If Macho Man expires in 3 days, there could only be 3,000 Macho Man. And then
I'm more interested in the monitors than the Macho Man. I'm
sorry. I like the headsets. The headsets are great. You can just put those on anybody.
Give me everything except Macho Man, and I will pay $19.99 today. You can put it in the stores.
You said how many people have bought this? Like 2,500 or something? There. So are they getting refunded when this doesn't hit its goal?
Yeah, absolutely. They're not charging until, for the most part, there have been accidents where people have been charged. But no matter what, at the end of the day, if this does not get funded, everybody gets their money back. There's no risk as long as you want the item for $250. So, yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on. How do you want to do this? You have one more story, Peewee, because it's a pretty long story, I believe, what you did last week. This past weekend.
He's just teasing me doing the Hornswoggle show this weekend. Honestly, not much happened. It was a good show. I don't have to talk long about this. It was a good show. I met the referee who I talked with and critiqued after the Swogglemania, the guy that kept looking at the ceiling. You remember that kid? He would do his 2 count, and when he said 2, he would look at the sky.
Yeah.
I met him. He was the sweetest kid I've ever met. Young kid. He's only been in the business for like a year and a half. And honestly, I think I was talking to other guys about it after watching the kid work, and especially with his look. He's a shorter kid. He's got a good look for a referee. His hair is just he just looks like a typical dude, but not even the typical dude. He's shorter. He kind of looks nerdy. His ears stick out a little bit. He has a look, and that look is of a referee, and his mannerisms in the ring are crisp. And he's young. He's working for everybody right now. And he was just a sweet kid. Like, he kept asking if I needed anything. He asked me to watch over his match and if I had any critiques. And that was him not even knowing who I was. I gave him my little backstory. And based on that, he's like, sure, would you watch my stuff and let me know if there's anything I can improve on? Like, just had a very open mind. And that was probably the most refreshing thing and the best part of the show, is just seeing the mindset of that other referee and how open-minded he was to critiques and just how positive he had an outlook on the wrestling business. I legitimately want to keep an eye on this kid and see where he goes, because I do legitimately think someone is going to pick him up, whether it's Impact, TNA, or AEW or WWE. It's just a matter of how long. And for me, it was an easy show. I reffed one match and a Royal. There were only 4 matches on the card and there were 3 referees. So I took one match, the other kid took one match, and then the kid I was just talking about took 2 matches, and then we all were out there for this was interesting, a 30-man Rumble, individual entrances every 90 seconds. It was a 45-minute Rumble. I've never done that on the Indies. It was only 4 matches before then. This was not a Randy show where there was 12 matches and then the last match is a Rumble with everybody. This was 4 singles matches, and then the last match, the whole locker room is filled with nobody except Rumble entrants. You know what I mean? Like, they were just there to be in the Rumble. This building was hot, but it was small. It was the size of Whitewater, so it was only like 100-foot by 100-foot building, and they...
Oh, so it was indoors, though?
Yes,
You're
I was shocked by
that.
that. I was driving around the city of Oshkosh looking for a wrestling ring in the middle of a park and couldn't find it. Eventually, I parked my car, and I could hear down the street the rumble of somebody bumping in a ring literally from 200 feet away. Like, it was just the way that the building was. They were on the 2nd floor. It was nuts. The ring was on the 2nd floor. And so they were elevated. It's Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Like, it's the only building for a 50-mile radius that has a 2nd floor. So when somebody would bump in this ring with the windows open, the entire town heard that one bump. So I tracked it down, figured out where that building was, and did the show. And they packed that building. That building was packed with like 200 to 250 people, and they were hot from match 1 all the way through every single entrant in the Rumble. It was.
Wow.
I'd never been in that small of an area with a crowd that was that hot. It was great. That's what indie wrestling should be. I'm used to indie wrestling where it's a similar sized building, but the crowd is made up of 17 people, and it's girlfriend, wife, child, girlfriend, wife, child, random fan, girlfriend. You know what I mean? It's all people. It's all friends and family. The show was fantastic. Like I said, I got a couple matches in there. I had a good time, met some new people. One of the other interesting parts was, like I said, it was on the 2nd floor. The way that they tore the ring down on the floor of the building, on the 2nd floor, and then they passed out one board and one metal piece at a time out the window of the 2nd floor down to the guys, catching them on the 1st floor. It was insane to watch. It was a good time. I'm excited to get back there. I talked with the promoter a little bit. This show was run jointly by Hornswoggle and this other guy, Josh. Both guys were very, very nice to me. As soon as I walked in the building, Swoggle notices me and just yells from across the room, "Bitters!" And I like 100% believe that Hornswoggle does not know my name is not Mark Bitters.
Well, and then you put the picture up. You got paid.
I did get paid, but that was not discussed prior. I just went into it blind because,
But the envelope said Bitters.
It said Bitters on it,
Yes.
yeah. So they were definitely prepared for Mark Bitters to make his debut with ACW Wisconsin. So I might get back up there. They've got shows down the line. It's just a matter. Honestly, it just depends on if that other kid gets signed between now and then or not. That'll open up a ref spot, and then they can use me more. So I am getting out there a little bit more. I'm getting this rush shaken off slowly, and we are slowly climbing towards some more goals. The show in general just went really, really well.
All right. Well, we have a couple emails here. I'm just gonna.
Oh, there's more.
No. I'm just gonna do the one email. Hattori Hanzo sent us, because the other one's from Dawkins Kruger, which he sent last week, and we didn't do it. So we'll just keep pushing the Dawkins Kruger email. And then Hattori Hanzo kind of told us what's up, because last week we talked about Jack Tunney and how it was cool, like you never saw him in a ring. And Hattori Hanzo was like, yeah, he was in a ring. Here's a picture of him in a ring. A rare glimpse of Jack Tunney in the ring. I think that's a good way to end the show. Guys, next week on the show, we have a story about Mr. Hughes that I found interesting, and a story on Captain Lou Albano that I found interesting. And maybe I will get Tony and Peewee to do a German accent. We'll see. We'll see about that. Okay. What's making me bitter this week? Rockin' Randy. Oh, we've been waiting for this one. I'm friends with Rockin' Randy. I love me some Rockin' Randy. I have no problems with Rockin' Randy. But this week, we talked about how Burt Prentice had passed away. Now, I'm friends with Rockin' Randy on Facebook, and I kind of don't pay attention to his page because it is very political, and I'm not really interested in politics. And it's not just his page. I have many family members who I have personally blocked.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, so it's not something that is personal against him, but I don't look too often at his page. But this week, Burt Prentice passed away. We talked about it already, obviously. And so I was like, oh, I wonder what Randy has to say about this, because I know he had a relationship with Burt, and he sent us down there. And Burt Prentice, honestly, probably has a lot to do with where Kurt went in his career. Like, we all believe Kurt would have made it anyway, somehow. But, he went through Burt and then to Puerto Rico and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, okay, Randy's got to say something about this. He can not talk about politics for one day or at least an hour or something like that. And so I went and I looked at his page, and I found nothing. Not one word on Burt Prentice. And I was kind of sad. And then I was like, well, I don't know if he still talks to him. I don't know what their relationship was like anyways. But it was just kind of like disappointing for me. I was hoping to see something that I could have shared.
Sure,
something. Yeah. And so it didn't happen. And so that's what's making me bitter / sad this week. Producer Tony, what's making you bitter?
Swamp ass.
Hashtag.
Yeah. It was 110 degrees in the shade today. With the humidity, that's like the feels like temperature, Oh my God. I got out of my car, and I instantly started sweating. It was awful. And I just ran right in the house. I didn't go back outside, and fuck Steve Blackman.
Peewee, what's making you bitter this week?
I always forget that. There's your Steve Blackman picture. All week, for 7 days now. Refresh. I've gotten nothing on ProWrestlingTees.com/bittermarks. I want this fuck Phil shirt.
We're going to need the help of King of Art because I didn't actually submit this shirt. I don't know how to make artwork.
Son of a bitch.
So if Justin Tuttle...
I thought it was done. This looks great.
If Justin Tuttle can make us that actual artwork like that, we'll get that up for sure. I would like to order multiples of those. We'll get them in different colors if need be, but it's all up to the King of Art. So
for right now, I can stop refreshing?
No, I'd like you to continue.
All right.
New episodes of this podcast drop every Friday morning in audio form at bittermarks.com or Tuesday nights in video form on our YouTube page. Join us while we record in the YouTube chat Tuesday nights live at 9:05. That's p.m. and that's Central Standard Time. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at bittermarks. Email us, bittermarks@gmail.com. And last but not least, buy our shirts at prowrestlingtees.com/bittermarks.com. That's C-O-M as in Malacca, which is Greek for he who masturbates. Peewee, Producer Tony, and all the smooth babies in the YouTube chat. Wash your hands and see you next week.
If this episode was better than last week, please hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Bye.